You are not allowed to impose, through the government, your religious beliefs on others. That is not what religious freedom is about. That's not what our country rests on.
Yeah.
And as a democracy, we respect other democracies' abilities to self-police and self-regulate. And so this process is underway. Our voices have been heard. Your voice is going to be heard. Obviously, there's international attention focused on this national citizenship registration.
Oh, you are going to enjoy this one today. We have a double feature where Ilhan Omar steps into two different hearings trying to control the narrative, one focused on religion in America and the other centered on foreign policy with India. In both moments, the questions were designed to push a strong ideological position, but the witnesses stayed calm, focused and grounded in facts. What followed was not drama, but a reality check, and today we are reacting to how Ilhan Omar was challenged point by point. Let's get into it.
Under our Constitution, we are prohibited from establishing religion, yes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's what the establishment
So if you have members of Congress that are legislating laws in accordance with their faith in regards to abortion or LGBTQ or women or any of those things, that should be prohibited within our Constitution.
You are not allowed to impose, through the government, your religious beliefs on others. That is not what religious freedom is about. That's not what our country rests on.
Yeah. For many of us, religious freedom is extremely important. It is life and death in this country. Yes. Many of us fled our countries to come to the United States because that is the one thing that distinguishes us from many countries. But it's also important that we have a secular government and protect people's civil rights and access to those civil rights. And so I appreciate your testimony.
Watch closely how Ilhan Omar frames the question, because this was never only about the Constitution. The goal was to suggest that lawmakers with personal faith should somehow be disqualified from shaping policy. That idea opens a very dangerous door. The implication was that legislating with moral or religious conviction equals imposing religion on others, but the witness refused to fall into that trap. Alice Wells clarified that government cannot force religious belief on citizens, and that distinction matters in America. People of faith are not excluded from public life. If someone believes in the sanctity of life or traditional values, they still have every right to vote according to their conscience. That is not establishing religion, that is participation. The argument presented by Ilhan Omar seemed to assume that a secular government must exclude religious voices entirely, and the witness firmly reminded everyone that this is not how the American system works.
Ambassador Wells, as you know, last month I led a letter to Ambassador Juster and Jones with you CC'd on it, on the situation of Kashmir. Our partnership with India is strategic, but it's also based on our shared values of democracy, religious pluralism, and the respect of human rights. Under Modi and the BJP government, all of these mutual values have been threatened. And I think we have to understand the situation in Kashmir as part of an overall Hindu nationalism project of the BJP. So my first question to you is about the right of self-determination. Is the United States committed to emphasizing the centrality of Kashmir voices in determining the future of the Jammu and Kashmiri people?
I would disagree with the characterization that we don't have a values-based relationship with the government of Prime Minister Modi. And I would just underscore that Prime Minister Modi came in a consecutive term. He achieved a majority vote in a very diverse
we can agree to disagree on that. I just would like to understand if we are going to centralize the voices of the Kashmiri and
But just to provide context, I mean, the actions he took were approved in Parliament, including by members of the opposition. The Supreme Court is reviewing that decision. The High Court is reviewing habeas corpus petitions. The institutions of India's democracy are working. We absolutely believe that Kashmiri's voice needs to be heard, that in any restoration, when there is restoration of a of an assembly, when there are state assembly elections, that's the way for Kashmiris to be able to register their views, also in peaceful assembly. And so I think the concern over the restrictions on movement and what we've seen over the last 78 days is that that ability to protest peacefully has been difficult for Kashmiris to exercise.
Yeah. I mean, and the part of the reason I asked and the part of the reason I emphasize the context of the larger PGP project is because I think in both cases, the impunity we have seen for crimes against Muslims under the PJP was warming for such worse things to come. In Assam, almost 2 million people are being asked to affirmably approve their citizenship. As my colleague and the chairman said, there have been official statements to the effect that no Buddhist, Christian, Sikh, or Jain refugees need to worry about their status. And so this is a clear anti-Muslim program. And I'm sure you've seen the same reports that the Indian government is starting to build camps in Assam, presumably to hold those who are unable to prove their citizenship. This is how the Rohingya genocide started. At what point do we no longer share values with India? Are we waiting for the Muslims in Assam to be put in those camps?
The certification of citizenship in Assam dates to a 2013 Supreme Court ruling that ordered the government to do so, to address questions of illegal immigration. The process, which continues to unfold and continues to be challenged in the court, it now has 1.9 million people who have not been certified. And that includes both Muslims and Hindus. There are 300 appeal panels that are being set up for those individuals to appeal this determination. And as my colleague stated, we're concerned that many of these individuals who may not have the wealth or the education to successfully be able to document their citizenship are vulnerable. We will continue to watch this very closely, but I would stress that the appeal process is still open. The judicial process is still working in India. And as a democracy, we respect other democracies' abilities to self-police and self-regulate. And so this process is underway. Our voices have been heard. Your voice is going to be heard. Obviously, there's international attention focused on this national citizenship registration.
Take a moment, because what we just saw was a clear contrast between ideology and diplomacy narrative versus reality. Listen to how Ilhan Omar framed the situation by suggesting that the world's largest democracy was moving towards something extreme. The framing attempted to cast a major ally as a villain. Then came the fact check regarding the National Register of Citizens in Assam, when Ilhan Omar compared the process to the Rohingya crisis. It created a dramatic and alarming comparison, but Alice Wells responded with context that changed everything. She explained that the process was ordered by the Supreme Court of India, making it a judicial action rather than a political impulse, and she pointed out that the exclusions affected both Hindus and Muslims, which directly challenged the claim of religious targeting. The final moment was the reminder about sovereignty, when Alice Wells stated that democracies must be allowed to manage their own internal processes. The message was simple: India has institutions, courts, opposition parties, and a constitution, and should be treated as an equal partner, not lectured from afar. 2 hearings, 2 witnesses, and 2 moments where reality pushed back against the narrative. Now let me know in the comments, do you think faith belongs in politics? And was Alice Wells right to defend India's sovereignty? Do not forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.